Hello and welcome everyone to the May edition of the Outlier Ventures Investor event. Sorry, I'm going to get a feedback on my end. So this is a shorter event than usual. We only have 5 pitches, but no less quality than the usual. So I'm sure you'll all be excited to see what's upcoming. I'm going to give you a general overview of what's up and coming. I know that many of you have been keenly reading the blurbs of the project companies that we have been sending you, but I'll just give you another brief overview. So the first pitch today at past is Zimbezi, and they are building a Web3 smartphone and platform to reward users. Their rewards-based system is focusing on bringing value to their members by distributing earnings from device sales, advertisements, engaging with DApp partners and sales, data sales teams via a data union. And they're going to tell us more about their Android device with Visa card integrated and other offerings there. So stay tuned for that. That's the first pitch. At 5:45, we have gbc.ai, and they're using a proprietary machine learning algorithm to detect protocol issues and ensure that vulnerabilities within those protocols are proactively dealt with before they become problems, keeping blockchains really efficient and safe. After then, in a kind of similar vein as around security and cleaning up, we have Logion at 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock UK time, that is. And they're building a public blockchain that genuinely protects all data assets, digital assets rather, and related transactions via a decentralized network of legal offices. Now, I'm not the person to elaborate on this. We're going to hear directly from the team. And I'm sure you're all going to have lots of questions about that. Following that, at 5:15, we have Mawari. Mawari has been hailed in news outlets as the Akamai of the metaverse. Apparently the $20 billion codec and the MP3 of AR. So very, very lofty titles. We're going to find out if they're going to live up to it directly from the founders. And their focus is on breaking the bottleneck of Web 2 infrastructure in 3D content delivery. And so Mawari is building a decentralized 3D XR experience delivery network. And that's going to render 3D content in the cloud and stream it to mobiles and other XR devices, enabling rich interactive experiences in the metaverse. And then finally, last but not least, we have Functionland. Now, Functionland is, I should say that the previous projects that I mentioned, so that's Zimbezi, gbc.ai, Logion, Mawari, they are all on our Basecamp projects. Functionland is in our Ascent program, and they are building, so some of you who have been in our investor network a while may have come across them before. This is their, so this is another funding round that they're doing. Functionland is replacing cloud storage and service subscriptions by introducing a new category of products called blockchain attached storage. And it creates value by auto minting crypto for the users and allocating a share to the developers. So we're going to hear all about them. And again, you might have been familiar with them as well. Just to recap again, Zimbezi is actually part of our Basecamp project, the original Basecamp. gbc.ai and Logion are part of our Polkadot program, and Mawari is part of our, it's the first in our Hedera base camp. So they all kind of, they're existing on different protocols, different chains. And we're going to hear from all the teams. So this is really exciting. I want to remind all of you to be as active as possible. We have in the live chat, you have the live chat, and then also as part of the live chat, you also have the question box. So feel free to use that question box when the teams are pitching, ask a question, I will pick it up. I can see all the questions, and I'll be able to ask the teams directly. I've asked the team, we've tried to be as disciplined with our teams as much as possible. We've tried to stick to a fairly strict time frame of the 5-minute pitch and 10 minutes of questions. We allow a bit of leeway, maybe to 7 to 8 minutes for a pitch, and then half the time for questions. That's not always been the case in the past, but I think the teams that we have today should be should behave themselves fairly well. So please have your questions prepared, or maybe if you just think of them as they're giving the pitch, just shoot them in the question box and we'll see if we can get through all the questions. Now we've got 3 minutes to go. We're going to try and keep on time. I think we've been pretty good in the previous pitch days in doing that. And I think what I will do in the remaining minutes is, again, to encourage, reiterate the importance of these pitch days. This is your chance, it's to really see the up and coming projects within, the Web3 space. Outlier Ventures is the UK's, and probably one of the best in the world. It's the foremost accelerator of Web3 projects. And we are constantly expanding. We're growing rapidly. In the next month, in June and July, we're going to have an expansion. Well, we're going to have more and more projects ready to pitch. And it might, for a lot of funds, it might be too many of you, too many projects at once that you might want to invest in. You're going to have to be really deliberate about how you are investing. And all these are really great projects. They deserve a lot of attention. And so give them your foremost consideration. Share share these information, are following these pitches, have discussions with your colleagues, think about what your kind of investment theses are. We want to know, we want to know as well, as we're always keen to find out how we can best present these projects to you in a more effective and efficient manner. We want to match up the best projects to your investment thesis. So the clearer you are in your minds about what you want, the better we can deliver that for you. So that's all to bear in mind. We have a minute to go. Again, the first pitch we have is Zimbezi. So I'm going to let the Zimbezi team into the call. We have Alpesh and who else? And we have, and it's also Pantelis. Yes.
Hi, Robert.
Hello, Alpesh and Pantelis. How are you both? Right, we're right on time, 4:30. And you also have your phone there as well, ready for the demo. I've given plenty introduction. I will let you take it away.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, and happy to meet everyone, even though I don't know who's on the line. My name is Alpesh Patel, the founder of Zambezi. It's basically the people's version of Amazon. We have basically created a hardware and software ecosystem, knowing that the world doesn't need another phone. I'm sure you all agree to that. But what the world does need is for the users to start getting a little bit of respect, a little bit of recognition, and a little bit of rewards for their screen interactions. What we've done is we've built this piece of hardware that I'm showing you here, and we've taken a position on top of Android. So we built the hardware as well as the software inside, and I'm going to show you a bit of a demo on that a bit later on. But before I go into that, just wanted to share my screen with you so I can share my deck. that I have here prepared, if you can see here. And here we go. So we have created the platform that pays. Zambezi, named after the great African river, different tributaries roll into one. That's what we built here. We built a curated and aggregated ecosystem of rewards. And what we've done here is identified a very severe and serious problem that we have. Do you know that every mobile device is generating millions of data points from everyday use from the users? And this is generating billions of dollars of revenue for a handful of companies, but it doesn't include you. The user is looking at this thing 300, 400 times a day, but they're not getting nothing out of it. Now, imagine if we did a little bit there and started giving a little bit back. Imagine how many lives we could change. Imagine how many lives we could empower, because you're now getting into what we call a new category of smartphones, a new category of mobile engagement, a new category within the mobile device ecosystem. You know, we're not saying that we're going to compete with Apple and Samsung. It's thinking about, you know, a 7-lane highway, we're building the 8th lane. You know, it's a completely new trajectory, and we feel that this is the future going into the next 5 to 10 years, especially when you have 5 to 7 billion people on the planet today that are going to upgrade their 4G phones to 5G. The device is not leaving anywhere anytime soon. What we wanted to do was to say, how do we actually make this a reality, a possibility? And we have started from the Web 2 journey. We started about a couple of years ago. We launched Zambezi last year. And what we've done here now is we've taken the solution from a Web 2.0 into a Web 3.0, creating a platform that really allows the users to capture value from their smartphone usage. And what do I mean by that? So there's 2 types here. You've got the value captured at hardware level, which is all your sensors, your GPS location, your motion sensors, your temperature. And then at the software level is your engagement with the different dApps partners that we have on the screen. Never ever forgetting that no matter how technical we all are, we are really what we call conscious capitalism. It really is about sticking to a very basic form of humanity, and that's called sharing. And what we want to do with that is create a business. What is the business of sharing? How are we going to make revenue out of this? How are we going to, at the same time, make users feel empowered? So we have 2 revenue streams via 2 distinct distribution channels. One is hardware and software, which is the phone itself with the app inbuilt. And there we're driving revenues from the licensing fees we get from every phone sold by our partner company. We have a mobile digital billboard that generates ad revenues that we share. We have the dApp partners that reward our users and us in affiliate fees. And we have a data union, which is going to be gathering marketing fees from selling the data with the user's permission, selling the data to large organizations. On top of that, but also let me just go back. Not everyone is going to go want to buy a new phone. So we're targeting 5 million device members between now and 2025, which is actually a drop in the ocean when you consider the whole mobile phone ecosystem. In addition to that, to really get the volume, we're also developing the Busy Token app as a standalone downloadable app on every Android NFC-enabled phone. And we believe there that, of course, being a much wider audience, we're going to go target 20 million downloads between now and 2025, earning affiliate fees for the users engaging with that app. So are we going to go and become mainstream? No. We have a very strict focus here, and the target audience, very much 16 to 35, very much an urban, multicultural demographic, but very much so users today that are used to using Android OS. Starting with the US, starting with our partnerships in the hip hop industry, founding shareholders affiliated with that industry, where we believe that that's going to be our initial foray into the market, using the power of hip hop, the power of lifestyle. You know, whatever happens in the culture becomes mainstream tomorrow, and then expanding from the US into supporting markets. Our first launch out of the US will be South Africa later this year, followed by Nigeria, and we're looking at a couple of markets in Latin America. So I've shown you all of that, but like, let me show you the actual demo so you can see what we built up to now. I'm going to stop sharing that, and I will share this here. So what have we built here? This is the Zambezi home screen. You'll see there's a mobile digital billboard. Now this billboard is passive advertising. Imagine, we're working on the AI right now. Imagine, look at your phone and get paid. Just look at your phone and get paid. That is not happening today. We're going to be able to reward users in tokens by just looking at their screen. But we're going to save that for another day, another discussion. What I wanted to show you for the limited time that we have today is what we've done with building the what we call the beta version of the Busy token app. So I press the Busy token app, and that will basically connect me to, and please excuse the fact that we haven't really worked on the UI UX. This is very much first time actually we're showing it. I will log into my Zambezi account, and that'll help me then connect my wallet to MetaMask. Now, connecting with MetaMask, you can see that I have earned initial reward points, reward tokens rather, from just connecting. As you can see that there's a message that comes up saying you've just been rewarded 125. I will go to my wallet and I'll be able to check that 125 reward Zambezi tokens have been credited. Then let's just assume that I want to now go shopping with one of my dApp partners. So what I will do, I will go into the Zambezi ecosystem, and I will say, for example, I will see Zambezi Deals, which is our own shopping app that we got in Web 2.0. We're now taking it to Web 3.0. And here you'll see online offers around you, whether it's restaurants, shops, etc. By engaging with them several times, I'll be able to earn some rewards. And you can see from my rewards, this is just an example again, that for my last 3 transactions, I've earned tokens from my dApp partner. Now, these tokens are then swapped into the Busy tokens and credited directly into my Busy Web3 wallet through the Zambezi Web3 platform. So if you go back to Busy, you'll see there that I have now been able to credit that account. So now let's say, as a user, I'm like, okay, I want to maybe stake something. So I can go and say, I want to stake, let's say 40 tokens. I will enter 40. And I will select a staking option, whether I have 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. So let's go for 6 months. And it'll tell me stake now. I've staked it, which means that it confirms that everything has been transacted properly. And excuse the lag. There you go. There's my confirmation. Staking is successful. I can then go into my transactions again and show you that the money was taken out. Going back into my wallet, I've got 185 Busy tokens available. Now, let's say I want to have a cup of coffee. Now, all right, let me redeem, say, 50 tokens, which is about $4 at our conversion rate, because I want to go down the road and get a cup of coffee from Starbucks or something. And what that'll do is it'll immediately transfer those tokens, convert it, and immediately transfer that to my Zambezi Visa card. So if I was to just leave the system and go back to my Visa card, we have a global partnership with Visa. Every Zambezi product comes with a Visa card. You will see there that just now, you can see that I've been credited with $4. So now I can go and have that cup of coffee. But just going back to finalize the demo, I've got 135 Busy tokens that are left in my wallet. And you know what? I just want to check if everything's cool with my MetaMask. I go into my MetaMask and I can then see, everything's there. 135 Busy tokens. So what we've done here basically is we've taken dApps partnerships, front-end dApps partnerships, we've integrated with the Web3 backend, including Web 2 and Web3 partners, integrated into our backend. We're working on the Polygon test network, and we've created a live blockchain smart contract, as you can see there. This is the future. Really, we believe that trying to make it easy, as much as it's complicated world out there in blockchain, try to make it easy for 4 to 5 billion people on the planet today that are using Android phones. Now, if a percentage of those people that are going to convert from 4G to 5G happen to use a Zambezi device or download a Busy token app on their Android device, you can see that this potentially becomes life-changing, and it creates that second new category in mobile device space. So I'm just going to stop there in case anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Alpesh. That was an amazing demo. And I always find that the demos are the best way to convey what your product is, what it does, and all the potential for it. So really, the question to start out with I have is, you said, wants to utilize the power of hip hop. I want to know, what partnerships you have in mind for that, how you're going to scale that.
So why are we saying hip hop? Because, it's evidently clear that today worldwide trends start from hip hop culture in America. Why are we going into America first? it's our home market, number one, but also we believe that we don't have the billions of dollars that these big guys have. So we have to have a certain niche, but there's a niche that creates worldwide trends. You saw it with Beats by Dre. You saw it with Kanye with the sneakers. You saw it with Puff Daddy with the Ciroc vodka. We are now merging technology with the culture. What we're showing you here is that vibranium that they spoke about in the movie Black Panther, right? They did $1 billion at the box office. Not because a billion Black people went to see it. Everyone went to see it because that's the culture. That's the power of the culture. So utilizing that, we'll be able to then partner with socially conscious celebrities who are part of our extended network to be able to amplify the need for people to start getting rewarded. Because if you look at, especially Black America, if you look at 55 million African Americans today spend $1.4 trillion every year. If it were a country, it would be the 11th largest. But if you think about it, how much of that wealth actually trickles down into the communities? Very little, right? So we want to be able to do our little bit to start uplifting communities, marginalized communities, the underbanked, the underserved. These are really the communities that need lifting up, not only in America, but globally.
Gotcha. I've got two questions from Pim Swat in the chat. And he wants so a bit on the kind of partnership side that we just discussed, but also, you know, what parties are you considering for the licensing deals?
Okay, so licensing deal, our first partner is obviously our home brand, which is Zambezi. So I just want to be very clear, the Busy token entity is not there to make handsets, right? We are just developing the token ecosystem. We have a partner company, Zambezi itself, that is going to be manufacturing the handsets, and we're working in partnership with them as our initial entry into the market. In fact, we've already built the first device. It's launching in September. And we're quite excited about that, actually. But what happens from there is, of course, we're not naive to think that everyone's going to go and buy a Zambezi phone straight away. We hope they do, but you know, it's going to take a while for the message to get through. So we are going to port this out to other Android phones. And if there is a licensing deal to be done with another OEM, we'd look at it, yeah.
Yeah. And then he has a follow-up question, but on a different topic, which is, what will the mobile digital billboard look like? So beyond the ad circle, and how will that impact the user experience and the user interface?
Well, the mobile digital billboard, we've got a really good paper we're working on at the moment. So a lot of AI involved, a lot of customization, a lot of feeding adverts back relevant to your lifestyle, getting rewarded for just looking at the screen, but more so, obviously, when you click through, there's more engagement, you get more rewards. But really, what we also want to build on that billboard is a live broadcast button, so you'll be able to shoot things very quickly. We believe in the creator economy. It's a very important part of our demographic. And we want to be able to give access to those tools very, very quickly. The billboard is actually, the billboard itself and the ecosystem, we've actually received our patents on it a couple of weeks ago, which is quite good for us. We've kind of built something that really no one else has right now.
Amazing. And the patent is just for the billboard, or is it more?
No, it's basically for the whole rewards-based smartphone rewards-based ecosystem.
Gotcha.
But the billboard is part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Thanks for that. So we're in our final minute. I just want to, in this last minute, you've had your Z1 phone, Z2, Z3. When is that coming out?
So the Z3, or rather the Web3 version of the Z2, this is coming out. This is in purple right now. The black version, beautiful with gold and everything, is coming out in September as our first Web3 device with dApps partners. And then, of course, as we go into next year, we'll be looking at more solutions around 5G. But also, you know, we're not going to be putting our phones at $500-600 because that doesn't hit the income levels, disposable income for emerging markets. So we're going to have 2 to 3 devices starting from like $100, $120 upwards, so we can cater for all different kind of pocket size.
Gotcha. Alpesh, Pan, thank you for joining us. We are now at 1:45. We like to keep a strict schedule, so I'm going to thank you, love you, and leave you. You did a great pitch. I'm going to now introduce the next team, and thanks again for joining.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. So the next team we have is from gbc.ai. I'm just going to let the team in now. Also Pavel. So Pavel as well. I think you are now all in. Is that correct?
Looks this way.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well, without further ado, take it away.
Okay, great. G Day from Australia. I am Pavel Entin, CEO and co-founder of GBC.ai, PG International Economics, 26 years in investments and technologies, co-founder of M1, sold to major telecom, Kiwi placed on NASDAQ, ePay sold to Chinese strategic investor. My core expertise is AI, blockchain, and Imertech.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ilya. I'm a co-founder and CEO at GBC.ai. I'm also based in Brisbane, Australia. My background is within IT industry. For more than 15 years already, I've been founder and co-founder in different projects, especially in AI and blockchain. All right, let me share my screen and let me know if you can see it. Can everybody see it?
Yeah,
perfect. So my name is Dima. I'm based in Hong Kong. I'm responsible for strategy and partnerships at GBC.ai. I studied economics and computer science in Germany, followed by postgrad at Stanford. We have been living in Hong Kong for almost 20 years, starting my journey in blockchain in 2013. Before joining GBC.ai, I co-founded BC Vault. It's a manufacturer of crypto hardware wallets, which now ranks among top 10 cold wallets on the market. I supervised the development of the product from prototype stage to the point of company breaking even, which was around half a year ago. So yeah, sorry, I skipped this part. So what is GBC.ai? As you can see from our motto, our mission is to bring intelligence to the blockchains. So why is it necessary? We have done 2 years of R&D and we have launched 2 MVPs on Solana and XDAI blockchains. XDAI now better known as Gnosis. And we have identified that the main challenge for blockchains is absence of adaptability, which leads to decreased performance and even service disruption, which we have seen on Solana multiple times, even yesterday, I believe, with maximum hours of outages up to 70 hours. So in terms of performance during execution of our MVP on Solana, which was about a year ago, we achieved an increase of TPS by 20% and more importantly, decrease of drop rate by, well, 5-fold. To better understand what our main product does to blockchain, our main product is called Blockchain Guardian. I suggest you to picture a blockchain like a fish tank. So fish tank has solid glass walls. Inside you have your DeFi platforms, DApps, metaverses, layer 2s, all living there alive just like fishes. Now let's imagine that there is a crack in the wall of the fish tank. Now, fish tank itself is not self-aware. So we can often see that the crack will not be noticed up until the whole ecosystem has stopped, just like in a blockchain. So to mitigate this, our Blockchain Guardian constantly monitors the environment from within the blockchain and analyzes every anomaly that comes across. This allows a blockchain to fix problem before it snowballs into a service disruption. Now, to tackle this challenge, we have created a range of products for 3 main audiences. It's retail, developers, and enterprise plus government. All of them are built around our main product, as I mentioned, the Blockchain Guardian, which is completely blockchain agnostic, by the way. Every product release is timed to create an extension to an existing client. So if your impression here on the product side is we have our mouth full, actually we have a very solid plan of how to release this in appropriate time. Let me focus on our first 2 products that we will release in the coming 8 weeks. So within the next 2 to 4 to 6 weeks, we're releasing a Node Guardian. You can see it here. So Node Guardian is a service that allows developers to simulate how their sets of DApps or smart contracts behave under different conditions before bringing them to test nets or even mainnets. So our framework allows launch of controlled infrastructure and simulation of attack or disruption scenarios. The second product, the Wallet Guardian, is aimed on retail and is oriented on everyday navigation of Web3 environment. It is a very user-friendly tool that will securely guide you through Web3 or by, for example, identifying fake NFT mint sites or dangerous smart contracts or compromised bridges. And it will display permissions that you have ever granted to any site or smart contract, highlighting permissions that could bring you harm. So you can picture this as a traffic light flashing green if if the site is clear or you're interacting with a valid bridge, yellow if there is some unusual activity, and red if we spot something really fishy. So we are aiming to take a share on a stack of two major markets, AI and blockchain, which combined result in almost 340 billion market size. We are the first company that successfully integrated AI within the core of a blockchain. And after 2 years of working in R&D mode, we realized that we are actually only in the beginning of our way. So we have put some thought on how to translate this into a way to understand how long we have to go to get somewhere really, and chosen the car manufacturing industry as an analogy. So most of you may remember when ABS was introduced. Actually, I'm not sure if most of you remember this because it was 40 years ago. After this, we have seen navigation, automatic headlights, keyless go, lane control assist, and now we're pretty close to fully autonomous vehicles, right? So if we take this perspective, where we are now with blockchain is pretty much at the ABS stage. So from this perspective, we see ourselves opening a multi-billion, maybe even $1 trillion industry. So although we don't have any direct competitors, even at this stage, we look at similar projects that were building infrastructure mechanism for blockchains. And I think if you recall 2 years ago, or maybe 2.5 years ago, when Chainlink came up and said, well, oracles will be a huge thing, I don't think somebody, majority of people took them seriously. However, now we see them being valued at $11 billion. We see that application of AI in blockchain and adaptability of blockchains will, coupled with Web3, will be much, much bigger than oracles. We have put a lot of thought in our tokenomics, making token of our company a true utility. Our tokenomics is deflationary and governance is DAO-based. Our token is cornerstone for all use cases within our product range. Some of the use cases include subscriptions to our retail products, such as Wallet Guardian or Bridge Guardian. We have a range of borrowing, optimization, and liquidity pool applications, as well as staking and governance. On top of that, we have revenue streams that are originating in fiat. Those are coming in, mostly from enterprise and government sectors, and we have a pledge to use these fiat streams to buy our token from the market and burn them, thus increasing token value. We have successfully closed our seed round, raising $800,000, and right now we are offering you an opportunity to invest at our strategic round. Total round size is only 1.5 million at 32 million valuation. So our projected public sale will commence in September or October this year. We have a very clear and transparent roadmap. On the screen, you can see our product release schedule for the next 20 months. Node Guardian will be released in 4 to 6 weeks, followed by Wallet Guardian in about 8 weeks. So this will be the products that you will see very shortly. We are extremely proud to have our very diverse team of experts in blockchain and AI in our team. In total, we have 11 full-time team members. So all of our management and core developers are full-time team members. We have also about 12 remote or part-time staff, such as designers, UI, UX, AI specialists, lawyers, etc. Our backers, aside from Outlier Ventures, include Gains Associates out of Paris, Bluefolio Fund out of Switzerland, and DeFi Hunters is a community of VCs driven by DAO decision making. Maybe very briefly on the partner side, we are proud recipients of NVIDIA Award for innovation in artificial intelligence. It's a huge thing for us because NVIDIA, as you know, is a market leader in manufacturing AI hardware, as well as application of AI in real world. Now, right now we are offering you an opportunity to invest at a strategic round, as I mentioned. Total round size only 1.5 million. We are taking commitments. Round will be closed by June. The use of proceeds are, well, we have our certain burn rate. We need to increase our R&D efforts to roll out our products faster. We need to build up awareness leading up to our public sale that will begin in September, October, and for marketing. We obviously give preference to commitments from smart money investors. So if you have an ability to help us with partnerships, marketing, regional strategy, introduction to our VCs or listings, you will have a preference in allocation. We will welcome any questions that you may have, and I thank you for your attention.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. That was a really comprehensive pitch. So I'm going to dive straight into questions. We've got a few in the chat already. So David Deputy wants to know, how does making a blockchain adaptable not make it a larger surface for attack? Does it not make it more vulnerable rather than less vulnerable?
I will take the question. It's a really good question, and it is a tough one. Of course, with any technology, we can say the more complicated the tech is, theoretically more threats appear. But specifically in this case, it works quite on the different direction. The thing is that during our simulations, we train our algorithm to encounter most of the situation that can occur during when the blockchain is run. So based on this, our algorithms actually know how to react to specific situation that can happen on chain. And based on that, it allows us to increase the level of security and productivity, of course, rather than to sacrifice on it. Again, purely theoretical, the more complex the system is, the higher the threat is. But the system is built actually to resist the threats. So in this case, we feel on the safe side here.
Gotcha. And then we've got another question from Pietro Negri, who wants to know if you have any, what's your partnership traction like? He's asking about governments, any enterprise level, who have you been working with?
Initially we started working with Velas. It is a blockchain from Switzerland. It was the project based on Solana was in partnership together with Velas. Right now we have partnered with GateChain. It's a blockchain powered by Gate Exchange. So we are the first actual infrastructure project that has been onboarded by GateChain. We have had very good discussions with Parity. It is actually the reason why we are in the Polkadot cohort. Even though our approach is blockchain agnostic, we see a really great potential working with the business customers who build on Substrate. For them, we can provide a large number of services. Speaking about universities, we have a team under Professor Yanovich, who is actually working with us with his postgrad students. They are working on the scientific publications. We already have a few articles published, plus we are getting our articles ready for an IPS journal. Also right now we are working on two partnerships with universities. It's RMIT University in Melbourne and UNSW, it's a University of New South Wales in Sydney.
And because of these negotiations, we are getting into financial institutions market because these universities work with 4 largest national banks in Australia. And also working with state agencies. So we're currently already negotiating with them.
Okay. Thank you all for that. We're now at 5 o'clock on the dot. we're going to end the pitch here. Thank you all for coming on, and thank you for taking those questions. And thank you also to the chat for asking those questions. They were really good, but we've got to move on. We're going to keep to the schedule. So thank you to the GBC.ai team. I'm going to ask you to leave, and then I'm going to bring on the next team from Logion, and Ellie from Logion is going to lead that. I'm letting you in. And it is just you, correct? That
yes. No, David is there too.
Okay, gotcha. There we go. All right, well, when you're ready, Team Logion,
yeah,
take it away.
Yes, we are. No.
So let's start. So hi everyone. So Logion's ambition is to be the blockchain infrastructure of safe digital ownership, to let people protect the value they create and exchange. So our take is that without safe digital ownership, blockchain technology will struggle to deliver all its full potential to people. Why that? While being considered a $1 trillion opportunity, digital ownership-based transactions raise a lot of risks for authors, owners, and buyers. For instance, even before a transaction, NFT value can be completely jeopardized. A major marketplace such as OpenSea, for instance, publicly admits that more than 80% of the NFT created with their tool are plagiarized works, fake collections, and spams. After a transaction, your digital ownership is absolutely not safe at all. Your token underlying assets can disappear overnight by being stored or centralized storage. If you think about chain analysis, they estimate that more than $140 billion of Bitcoin, and we are just talking about Bitcoins alone, are locked in lost wallets. That situation is absolutely not sustainable over the long term for the rise of the blockchain ecosystem and the major mass adoption and the major mainstream benefits that everybody expects from that technology. So Logion's team is actually working hard to solve that situation by providing the public blockchain that genuinely protects all digital assets and related transactions being operated by a decentralized network of legal offices. So the idea is that all projects built with the Logion infrastructure protect their digital asset holders. Why? Because everything that is processed by the Logion infrastructure is legally existing and secured over time by design. So let's dig into that. All projects built with the Logion infrastructure protect their digital asset holders by providing them, before transaction, we provide a digital asset generation protection based on token creation with underlying asset existence certification and escrow, either digital, monetary, or physical. We also provide a zero knowledge proof infrastructure with the legal officer case. So what is the legal officer case? A legal officer case is an innovative technology developed by the Logion's team. It's a blockchain folder, a unified source that aggregates and put back on chain on the Logion blockchain infrastructure, everything that materializes a transaction by certifying the existence of data and metadata that usually are stored off chain, files such as documents, videos, music, art, photo, and so on and so forth, signed contract, proof of ownership, proof of identity. After a transaction, Logions aim to offer to wallet providers social recovery service to answer to password loss situation, and multi-signature services to avoid any unwanted asset transfer, as high-value asset transfer requires legal officer signature. For each capabilities, we already engaged strong discussion with the following projects, knowing that Logion is production since November, with the first use case we could talk about later if you want, which is the NFT marketplace named Arts. So again, everything that is processed by the Logion infrastructure is protected. But what is the Logion infrastructure? Logion aims to be a parachain this year of the Polkadot blockchain ecosystem. We decided to be part of the Polkadot community because Polkadot innovative technology is built on two important foundations needed by the core of the login mission: security and interoperability. So public data and document hash are stored on the login blockchain node network. Then confidential content and digital files, personal information, are backed up and encrypted on the login private IPFS-based network under protective access rules. We also offer secured with APIs and SDK for projects outside of the Polkadot ecosystem. And with regard to our tokenomics, we provide the login token to finance login network and legal services. So everything that the login's architecture processes is legally existing and secured over time by design. And that protection comes from an institutional but independent legal officers network that operates the login infrastructure in a complete decentralized way. So all operation and processes executed on the login blockchain infrastructure can be eventually, especially if something goes wrong, certified by an identified legal officer to helping when it's needed, you can speak with over time. Other projects do not provide that kind of protection. Is it sustainable for the Web3 ecosystem over the long term? Unfortunately, not. And as a matter of fact, the login team has been rewarded with an official grant from the Web3 Foundation with regard to our legal officer-based asset protection. And that Web3 Foundation program helps projects considered as providing the highest impact on the Web3 ecosystem over the long term. So that's the login team behind login. Full-time for the first line, part-time for the second line. We have the best foundation for such a project with tech veterans such as Benoit, Gérard, and Benjamin, banking veterans such as Stephanie, and legal veterans such as Casey, and even with both tech, blockchain, and legal profile at the same time for David and I. These people are the first European login legal officers. One of them, Mark, is the president of the International Union of Judicial Officers. We are seeking 1.5 million euro to finance our 2022 goal, becoming a successful parachain position as the digital asset ownership protection infrastructure for the Polkadot ecosystem and beyond. So that's why Login is the blockchain infrastructure of safe digital ownership, so that people, NFT marketplaces, metaverses, token-based projects, wallet providers, decentralized finance app can protect the value they create and exchange. That's it. That's Login.
Thank you very much for that pitch. I have a question off the top of my head. Could you, whilst we gather some questions from the chat, could you elaborate on the onboarding process for your legal officers and how they are supervised and how exactly do you select them? What's the criteria? Just elaborate on that.
Sure. So legal officer first has a recognized title by law, and they're nominated by law, and they have a legal responsibility and they have a public office. But that's not enough to be considered as a login legal officer. The login legal officer will follow an onboarding process that is approved by the non-profit organization behind the project, because we are not a commercial company, we are a non-profit organization, and we operate with the under the governance of all the legal officers that are part of the network. So knowing that, we set in the bylaws of the non-profit organization, which is an international association, a certain number of criteria that lead to be sure that the legal officer can operate, for instance, Login's node, but also can provide the services that we are providing through the network. And of course, we, beside his experience and skills, all those different things and expertise will be checked, and he will be nominated by the governance, so by a vote on the chain, on chain, because again, the objective is to have that kind of topics, which is the onboarding system, part of the governance mechanism that make the entire network works. Is that answering to the question?
Yeah, no, I think it does. But just on top of that, currently a lot of your legal officers, incredibly well-established individuals, a lot of them, I think from the slide, European based, so that kind of European legal professionalism. As you grow, are you going to, is that basis, because obviously you said, you have this legal offer is a technical legal term, and then on top of that you have your own checks on that. Are you still going to draw upon effectively European or Western legal, or are you going to expand to allow others to be part of your network?
So first thing first, that question could be linked to scalability. And just to be sure, for instance, when we partner with a marketplace that need to create 10,000 of NFTs, you don't have a legal officer that click 10,000 times and create those legal officer case. We completely streamline the process. It's completely automatic, as approved by the legal officers association itself, to be sure that at the end, if needed, you can have the help of someone that could create an evidence that you can use to protect your rights. That's the idea. So knowing that, and to answer more precisely to your question, we still want to increase the footprint of our legal officer base across the world. And that's the reason why two of the secretary and the president of the legal officer of the Union of Judicial, International Union of Legal Officer are part of the project. One is the co-founder, is one of our co-founders, by the way. And we have those legal officers all over the world. So in South America, we have in the Middle East, we have in Europe. So it's really a role that you can find in a lot of different countries. And that being said, we also need to say there that in every country, if you think about how a judge, in case of a claim, analyzes a proof, an evidence to make his own decision, the fact that you can provide things that have been processed by the Logion network, by the blockchain, is document that has been secure and archived in an encrypted way under the responsibility of a legal officer, an official legal officer network that is responsible by law. It will take that and take the statement of fact resulting from those processing by the infrastructure with a legal grade, a legal level that is superior to any kind of other evidence provided by a person. And that's how we protect that. That's the digital ownership. So it's really something common on a global basis from every judges in every country.
Gotcha. Thank you for that clarification. I have questions in the chat from Pietro Negri. Do you have a valuation FDV for the amount being raised, and do you have a plan on how those funds will be used?
Sure. The current valuation is 20 million euros. That's the current valuation. The token is at 2 cents actually, and we have a total supply of 1 billion that is expected. When of course we will have the TGE. That's the idea.
Okay, thank you for that. And then really quickly, although we've only got 1 minute left, we've got a question from David Deputy. Is the focus on high value assets and onboarding traditional financial institutions who may lack their expertise? And if so, we'll answer that question. Is that the focus? High value assets?
I mean, the idea is maybe as a go-to-market, we can start with high value assets, but or stable coins. That's another way of we can provide or secure wallets. But the thing is, we want to lower the entry barrier to the Web3 ecosystem in general to get that legal protection. And because it's processed, because it's automated, as soon as we plug the login infrastructure with the project, the objective is really to protect people within their transaction or protect creators when they sell their digital assets in a way that is with a very, very low entry barrier, something super simple and super automated.
You have to consider login as a key challenge to the mass adoption. So it's a service that could be used by every user, making them more comfortable about digital asset management. It's really important. It's for all users.
And you have no protection without protection of rights. And that's exactly what we are providing for everybody. That's the idea.
Okay, thank you for that. Well, it's 1:15, time for the pitch to end. Thank you both for joining. It was a great pitch, guys, and also great questions from the audience. Shame we can get through more of them. So I'm going to ask you to leave, and we're going to invite on the next team, which is Mawari.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you both
everybody
for joining.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. And we have Luis. Is it just you that's joining?
No, it's Fred is
Fred
also
as well.
joining.
Yes, right here. And he's joining. Yes. All right. Well, when you are ready, I think Fred is still joining. You can share your screen and take it away.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Luis Ramirez, founder and CEO of Mawari, and we also have Fred speaking, which is our Chief Operating Officer. So yeah, I'm just gonna go straight to the pitch, and then we can explain a little bit more about our backgrounds if needed. So we're Mawari, and we provide a 3D XR experience delivery network for the metaverse. Let's rewind a little bit. Like, if you're old enough to remember, you know how painful it was to download content at the beginning of the internet, around the 95 onwards. But thanks to Mawari, you will skip this in the metaverse. Why? Today, it took actually more than 20 years to build the Web2 infrastructure that now handles 3 trillion gigabits of 2D content and provides unlimited access to this content. For example, you press play on Netflix and start watching thousands of movies without having to download them. Users take this infrastructure for granted as it is invisible to them. And while everybody talks about the metaverse in the near future, we imagine this ever-persistent and ultra-realistic 3D digital twin blending digital and physical worlds seamlessly. However, few people realize that to deliver the promise of the metaverse, we need exponential amount of data and the infrastructure that supports it. This does not exist today. So let me talk about the elephant in the room. Today's technology stack is not compatible with interactive 3D content delivery scale. This is because of 3 main technical bottlenecks. First of all, 3D content is heavy by nature. We're talking about gigabytes and terabytes of content that even with 5G, it would take a long time to download. Second, data format incompatibility. We've seen 3D content in games and movies, but it always has been delivered into 2D displays as the current game engines have been designed this way. So when we talk about XR, the data needs to stay in 3D, therefore we need a new data structure. Lastly, smart glasses and mobile phones have limited processing power to render rich interactive 3D content. The quality of the content will never be comparable to a high-end desktop. Moreover, when you add 5G to the mix, the battery drains up quickly and the devices start overheating, providing a poor user experience. As a matter of fact, Apple delayed the release of their headset due to heat issues. Mawari is breaking these bottlenecks by rendering 3D content in the cloud and streaming it to mobile XR devices, enabling immediate access to unlimited XR experiences. We are challenging the status quo by creating a future-proof and patent-pending technology that comprises a 3D streaming codec that reduces network bandwidth up to 100 times. Yes, about 100 times. A geometric streaming framework. An edge cloud rendering network that enables real-time interactivity with ultra-low latency. We are building the horizontal solutions to accelerate the arrival of the immersive metaverse content today. At a high level, this is how it works. We have the XR platforms and content creators on the left, and our XDN delivers high-quality content in real time to the users. Here's a quick demo that features the real-time streaming of ultra-realistic AI metahumans as digital assistants and other photorealistic 3D assets to smartphones, smart glasses. This type of content is comprised of high polygon count, high resolution textures, physics, real-time reflections, and a complicated backend. Without Mawari, these experiences could not have been delivered to mobile XR devices. Moreover, we have created a new patent-pending 3D streaming codec for XR that requires 60 times less power to display high-quality content on mobile devices, and consequently reduces the network bandwidth up to 100 times for comparable formats such as uncompressed volumetric video, which uses up to 4 gigabits of bandwidth. By this, we are opening new opportunities for content to be consumed by more devices at a lower cost, and therefore democratizing the access to the metaverse. We have a strong IP pipeline with 4 PCT patents filed for a streaming framework, plus 1 patent published in 3D AR streaming analytics. We have been called the Akamai of the XR Cloud, the MP3 of AR, and Forbes named us the $20 billion codec. In addition, Newzoo identified us as the early architects and pioneers of the metaverse, in which we are the only XR streaming focused solution. We see a $3 billion addressable market for Mawari in the near future, but more importantly, our real ambition is to enable 30% or more of the metaverse traffic and truly become the Akamai of the metaverse. Why do we deserve to win? Well, we have proven traction by generating over $4 million in revenue for Web2 clients, so now we want to use Web3 to scale. We are post-revenue and have only raised $350K to date and have self-funded and bootstrapped our R&D and intellectual property. We have built a unique set of capabilities and partnerships with the right players that enables our strategy. For example, we are the only XR streaming solution for AWS Wavelength. And we work with major telcos worldwide, such as KDDI, Deutsche Telekom, Tel, T-Mobile, Bell, and Telefonica. Our current business model is simple. We charge per stream hour per user. One of our biggest milestones to date is that we have already streamed more than 10,000 hours of XR content in commercial deployments. And you may wonder, why Web3? Well, Mawari can accelerate beyond current Web2 technical bottlenecks and speed to market by leveraging Web3 decentralized cloud services. We plan to build a render network to unlock the full potential of Web3, and we will decentralize and syndicate edge computing resources for the metaverse. Mawari is the only cross-platform solution that streams geometry and provides seamless 3D streaming for interactive extended reality applications, and also that offers Web3 support. Our team has the right expertise to solve one of the metaverse's biggest bottlenecks. We are a group of experts in computer graphics, extended reality, and network technologies. For this round, we're currently raising $3 million on a safe, and we have already $1 million committed and plan to close the round at the end of this month. So if you have any questions, thanks. We're ready to go.
Thank you, Luis, for that presentation. Really enjoyed the pitch. I'd start off with a question here. I wonder if you could kind of elaborate on your current partnerships and relationships, for example, one with telcos.
Well, okay, with the telcos, why telcos? Okay, so they have invested billions and billions of dollars in the 5G infrastructure. Mm-hmm. But have you heard of 5G use case? Like, okay, you can watch YouTube on your smartphone without 5G, right? So they are desperately looking for these use cases that can actually justify the need for 5G connections, the bandwidth infrastructure, and so on. And this prime use case is the metaverse.
Gotcha. Thanks for that. So I got a question from the chat from Wei Li Tan, who, and she says, Wei says, Mawari, understand that you guys provide new codecs in the platform. Who provides the rendering? Could you elaborate on how exactly that works? How are you going to build out that decentralized rendering computation?
Sure. In Web2, we currently are partners with AWS and with the telcos, because the telcos also have their own data centers with GPU resources. But for Web3, we see a way to democratize the access to this, because there are a lot of people that will be able to provide their resources. And by this way, we can do a decentralized rendering and then just delivering the content on the user. So our plan is, for example, having, for example, if you have a big GPU on your home and you leave the computer on, you could be monetizing and rendering for other people's metaverse activity while you're sleeping, as for example.
Gotcha, thanks. And could you perhaps just be a bit more detailed about what exactly, so you've got one patent pending and then you've also got confirmed patents. What exactly is protected? What are you expecting to protect? And how does that, and give us more idea of what exact advantage that gives you. What can other companies, what can your competitors not do because of that?
Okay, fair question. Okay, so it's the other way around. We have 4 patent pendings and 1 approved. The 4 patent pendings is in the full process of the streaming framework, which is the codec, which is a compression, but also we have a specific 3D format. And we also have the rendering part on the server side, and we have the decoding part on the client side. So by this, we are protecting the full streaming framework. And on top of that, we are adding the business use case, which is the 3D XR analytics, which is already plugged in, a published patent.
Okay,
but more importantly, just I want to mention here that the way to like the moat or the defensible strategy, first of all, yes, it's years of research. So actually, anybody that wants to get into the game, I mean, we are a 4-year-old company, and we've been working on 3D graphics for a long time.
Yeah.
For Google or for all these companies to jump into this, is faster to buy us than to actually jump on this to their own. Why? Because the metaverse stack has a lot of undefined technologies that work horizontally. You just don't need one technology to power the metaverse. You need a full stack. And they are not agile enough and fast enough to produce everything. Everything is siloed. Like Meta is building their headset. NVIDIA is building the GPUs. Then Qualcomm is building the chipsets for the devices, et cetera, et cetera. So we are the company that we have already put everything together and proved the use cases with the cloud as well.
Thanks for that. And then we've had 2 questions about Render Network. How familiar are you with them? So that's rendertoken.com. Are they your competitors? What's that relationship like?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's a market validation. If there's no competition, there's no market. So
Yeah,
of course, I know about them. 2, they could be either our competitor or partner. We'll see down the road how that works, because we could plug into their already network of GPUs. They have a different actually rendering approach. They started just as an offline 3D rendering, but 3D to 2D rendering. Like, for example, if you want to create a TV commercial that has super heavy graphics, you send it to the render network. We are fully dedicated to the metaverse and extended reality. And from what I know so far, is that they stream pixels, and we have a very different approach that we stream geometry. So this is why we can overlap, but we can also partner and use their computing resources.
Excellent. I guess only time will tell. We don't currently have any more questions in the chat. I guess, if maybe this isn't a question that's fair for 30 seconds, but could you elaborate on why charge the end consumer and not, say, for example, any of the platforms they might use to stream their games or etc.? Like, why the end user?
Okay, so we charge per stream hour per user, but this is to the platforms. It's a B2B2C business model. So the platforms that create, for example, educational content or metaverse spaces are the ones paying.
Okay, got you. Thank you. Right, it's gonna strike. It's just struck past now. Thank you both for joining. You did a great pitch. This is the Mawari team. So that's it. We've got the Function Land coming up next as our last pitch. Thank you both for joining. I'm going to ask you to leave and then invite the other team in.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye. Now we got Esan. We have Esan. Nice
Hello.
to see you. Hello. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, thank you.
And then we've got double notes for Esan.
Yeah, we can dismiss that. So.
Got you. Right, is that, are we waiting for anyone else? Is that?
No, that's it.
That's it, perfect. Well, after you, take it away.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so I'm Ehsan, and at Functionland, we are introducing a monetized, decentralized alternative to cloud. We transitioned from keeping our data on flash drives and DVDs to have everything now uploaded on these cloud services because they are providing easier sharing and real-time collaboration. But with this transition, a gatekeeper is introduced. Besides dictating the price that they increase whenever they want, they take our data hostage and use it to train the AI algorithm of their system to predict and manipulate our behavior. If we stop sharing our data with them and decline their so-called privacy policy, they stop the access to the service, which means our own data on their servers. We are kind of living in a rental web era, and an example can be bolded by the Google Photos, which was initially marketed as a free forever app. And after users trusted it and put millions of their photos there and agreed that their images will be used to train the AI of Google, last year they removed the free tier. And we are losing our money, control, and privacy more and more each day because of the strong data processing AIs behind these islands of storage, and which want to increase the ROI for investors instead of end users. But people are smarter than that. They are increasingly becoming aware of the problem. More than 80% of US consumers now think that the potential risk that they are facing from sharing their data with large corporations outweigh the benefits. But right now, there is no alternative that provides the same user experience and monetized potentials of cloud, which actually leaves half of about 2 billion cloud users without any alternative other than just optimizing their subscription spendings. This is our target market, and to address them, we enter from the path of least resistance, which are the early adopters who are ready to try new technologies and still give a $3 billion readily available market. And to address the problem, we are introducing a new category of products called blockchain attached storage, which is designed to be plug and play platform that gives the same experience of cloud in a monetized peer-to-peer network. With Fulla protocol that we are developing in-house, the user can create a decentralized Google Cloud. Users can install this platform on any hardware that they have, for example, a laptop or a Raspberry Pi, and join the network. And now, instead of paying Google, I can create a local pool here in Toronto with my neighbors, and for 100 people in this pool, back up each other's data and share their CPUs in this pool to train the AI of their apps to recognize faces, for example. The pool that I join can be as local as my neighborhood or within my city or my country. And this resource sharing can come at zero cost because I provide the same amount of services that I receive from the pool. And since it's local, it doesn't introduce the latency because of fetching data that needs to be fetched from another country. And to incentivize the ecosystem for both users and creators, be it application developers or content creators, who can provide a pool of free and high quality application and content, Fulla blockchain here plays a key role. Users pay all contributors of the app with Fulla token when they use that application, but not out of their pocket. They are paying with Fulla token, which are auto-mined and kept at their hardware when they provide the services to the pool. We are also introducing an abstraction layer, which makes it super easy for developers to develop applications for the ecosystem with their current skill set and without going deep into the Web3. This also makes us a participating developer in their application, actually, which is a recurring source of revenue for us. And We are initially focusing on Web3 and crypto enthusiasts, but we also want to make it as simple and easy as possible for everyone for the mainstream to join the network. That is why we are pre-packaging everything in a plug-and-play dApp server, where the owner can plug it to the internet and start to use their phone and open familiar applications like Photos, which is an alternative of Google Photos, which we designed in-house, and enjoy the same experience that they are right now getting from the cloud. We are designing 2 more applications in-house, but after that, through hackathons and grants, we onboard developers to the ecosystem to create other applications. And we saw substantial initial traction. Our GitHub is right now in the top 3% of open source projects worldwide. We opened a 1-month pre-order on Indiegogo, and we sold $500,000 on the platform in less than a month. We also created a community of 15,000 interested people. And we saw an amazing interest from investors during our seed round from Protocol Labs, Filecoin, Dfinity, Cross, Kudos, and a lot of amazing ventures like Master Venture, Outlier Venture, and Techstars. And the progress so far is made possible with a diverse team from with a proven track record from AI to software and hardware, as well as business development, tokenomics, and design. And also we onboarded great advisors such as Sean Neff, Yves Behar as our partner, Stefan Vervet, and Andy Lark. Thank you, and looking forward to your questions.
Thank you. So I'll thank you for your pitch. It was a great one. It's clear to see why you are gaining so much traction from investors following your first round. I just want to start out by asking, your target for early adopters, you said is those early adopters of those willing to look for alternative solutions in the cloud software. How exactly are you approaching these early adopters? What's your marketing strategy? How does that work? Because you have various products on offer. Surely they appeal to different people, or is there a client avatar that you already have fixed?
So actually our Indiegogo campaign, like the crowdfunding, was basically a test to see which of those cohorts that we identified initially, like Web3, crypto, hardware, privacy concerned people, our product is more appealing to them. So we launched it, we fine-tuned our targets, and we as I said, we sold more than 500,000. So at this point, those people who purchased the product will be the early adopters. Then in the next round, we are actually releasing a dev kit, which is just for the hardware and Raspberry Pi enthusiasts, that they can play with it, put their own Raspberry Pi in it, install our software on it. And after that, we actually release our softwares to anyone who want to install it on their own hardware, like those gamers who have a gaming PC and want to have an extra income, for example, or have their machine give it a new use. Mm-hmm. So with this step-by-step market targeting, we believe that we will be at a stage where we will grow by word of mouth after a certain threshold is met.
Gotcha. Thanks for that. We've got a question in the chat from Marcus, who's asking, what are the, just data clarification on the details of your next round?
Yeah, so our next round will be open in a few days, and we are looking to raise between 8 and 10 million at a valuation of 90 million.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. So can you give us a clear idea of what the landscape of your competition is like? What else is out there? Why, you say that you have lots of frustrated users that are looking for alternatives. If not you, who else?
So right now, a lot of them are turning into other solutions like network attached storage, right? Like NAS devices or home servers, like those softwares that provide home servers, or even there are a couple of decentralized solutions like Qubit. but each have like different problems. So for example, NAS, they have limited applications, like the applications that network attached storage solutions like WD offers, or like Synology. A lot of them are limited in the application pool. They can't provide the full application that cloud right now has, like Netflix, YouTube, because it takes a lot of developers working on the platform. So by adding that monetization layer for developers, we are trying to onboard developers and content creators. So like a YouTube creator creates a video on YouTube, they want to monetize. They are facing slowness because their pools are globally decentralized. And if you are in a country where the internet is slow, you need to fetch a part of your file from, let's say, like another country. And it takes time because the internet to all of the country is very slow. So we are also addressing that by introducing the local pools.
Gotcha. Thanks for that. I'm just looking at the chat now, and Malcolm is, he's from No Limit Holdings. He's asking about, well, his question is around the hardware package. But then you also said in your pitch, you don't want to stick solely with kind of being a hardware solution. So how do you, you've got an initial you've got an initial offer to hardware users, to hardware developers. How do you transition out of that?
So initially, like what we are offering is this hardware that we actually built. We partner up with Ibs Bahar on the design of the hardware. And we are, as the core module, we are using Raspberry Pi. So it's like pre-made, available. We designed the PCBs, but the core compute is Raspberry Pi 4. We just package everything for the initial users, send it to them. But right now, like we are in talk with a couple of hardware providers, for example, to develop a tower, like a storage tower for us. Like instead of us developing the storage tower, let's say a hardware developer who is already in SSD board come and create this hardware tower, because the shell is open source, so they can just fill it with anything, like with their own SSD, even brand it themselves. So we don't put any branding on our hardware, and sell it to the market. So with opening our hardware platform, our designs, and like basically creating that market, that initial market for the hardware, we believe that we can create those partnerships with other hardware developers to take this on, create towers initially, and then the whole platform. And as I said, like our source of revenue, as you see here, is from the software, like that red bar, which is the software revenue that comes from the applications that are built on top of our APIs, is our main source of revenue.
Okay, thank you for that. And I've got a follow-up question from Malcolm, who asks, what does the cost look like for end users?
So the cost is actually for, like, we are creating 2 tiers. Sorry, let me just bring myself. So we are creating 2 tiers for the users. One is the full box, which you see on the left. It has 2 towers, like a hub tower and a full tower, which is the compute tower, and then the base, which they can put more towers on it. But there is also a light tier with only 1 tower, which is like everything compact into one, not as much expandability as the other one, but they can easily upgrade to the full tower. For our Indiegogo campaign right now, the full tower is at sale for $9.99, and the light tower is at $2.99. And that would be like, we believe at like when we go to the market with mass production, those would be reasonable prices.
Thank you very much. We have reached the end of our time. It's 5:45, at least in the UK. Thank you, Ehsan, for a great pitch and answering all the questions that came at you. So, and also again, thank you from everyone in the chat who answered questions for this pitch and then all the previous pitches as well. I hope you all enjoyed the pitches that we had today. Ehsan, you are free to go.
Okay.
Great pitch. And I should say that to everyone who joined today, I will be sending you all out an email asking you to tell me what introductions I would that you would like me to make to the pitches that made that pitch today, to the teams that pitched today rather. So I won't have you linger around any longer. I'm going to end the stream, and again, thank you all for joining today. I always really enjoy these pitch days. I hope you do too. Certainly we get a lot of good feedback from them, and we do make a lot of connections afterwards. So thanks again, and we're going to end the stream now.